Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Tuesday night. And we begin tonight with that hearing on Capitol Hill. Dr. Anthony Fauci and the head of the CDC answering questions for the American people on testing, on a realistic timeline for any vaccine, and their candid words about reopening the country too quickly. Dr. Fauci warning if we are not extremely careful, it could trigger an outbreak you may not be able to control. Senators grilling them, and there was Senator Mitt Romney bluntly telling the president's testing czar that the testing in the U.S. so far is nothing to celebrate, now with millions of Americans set to start going back to work. And of course, all of this as the death toll now approaches 82,000 lives lost in this country. Dr. Fauci acknowledging today the real number of deaths is, quote, almost certainly higher. Much of the Senate hearing conducted remotely today in these times, the chairman of the committee and 3 out of 4 witnesses under some form of quarantine. And Dr. Fauci not only warning of the potential for an outbreak if reopening is done without great care, he also warned that could then deal another setback to the economy. And on testing, those words from Senator Romney saying it came too late in the U.S. and that we, quote, treaded water for months. The moment that he compared testing here to what was done in South Korea very early on, and you'll see that. Dr. Fauci said a vaccine by the fall, by September, when it's hoped millions of children will go back to school, is a bridge too far, in his words. He was then asked, does that mean they shouldn't go back? His clarification right here tonight. We're going to carefully guide you through it all today, that hearing, and we're going to begin with ABC's Mary Bruce leading us off.
Testifying from his modified quarantine at home, the nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, today with a stark warning for the 45 states moving to reopen without meeting the federal guidelines.
If a community or a state or a region doesn't go by those guidelines and reopen, the consequences could be pretty dire, correct?
The consequences could be really serious. There is a real risk that you will trigger an outbreak that you may not be able to control, which in fact, paradoxically, will set you back, not only leading to some suffering and death that could be avoided, but could even set you back on the road to trying to get economic recovery.
Fauci's message at odds with President Trump, who insists the country is ready to get back to work.
I'd just like to hear your honest opinion. Do we have the coronavirus contained?
And if you think that we have it completely under control, we don't. Well, I think we're going in the right direction, but the right direction does not mean we have by any means total control of this outbreak.
Fauci was asked whether there will be a vaccine or treatments by the beginning of the school year.
The idea of having treatments available or a vaccine to facilitate the reentry of students into the fall term would be something that would be a bit of a bridge too far.
He later clarified that reopening schools should be tied to a community's infection rate.
I did not mean to imply at all any relationship between the availability of a vaccine and treatment and our ability to go back to school.
Republican Senator Rand Paul pushed back on Fauci's warnings.
I think we ought to have a little bit of humility in our belief that we know what's best for the economy. And as much as I respect you, Dr. Fauci, I don't think you're the end all. I don't think you're the one person that gets to make a decision.
I have never made myself out to be the end all and only voice in this. I'm a scientist, a physician, and a public health official. I give advice according to the best scientific evidence.
According to the official count, more than 80,000 Americans have died. Fauci says that underestimates the toll.
The number is likely higher. I don't know exactly what percent higher, but almost certainly it's higher.
Today, Democrats and Republicans on the committee agreed the key to reopening safely is testing. The president Monday boasted about the country's testing capacity.
We have met the moment, and we have prevailed.
Trump and his testing czar, Admiral Brett Giroir, tout that the U.S. has tested a larger percentage of the population than South Korea. But Republican Senator Mitt Romney ripped apart that claim.
But you ignored the fact that they accomplished theirs at the beginning of the outbreak, while we treaded water during February and March. So partially as a result of that, they have 256 deaths and we have almost 80,000 deaths. I find our testing record nothing to celebrate whatsoever.
So far this month, the U.S. has conducted about 3 million tests.
So by September, we project that our nation will be capable of performing at least 40 to 50 million tests per month if needed at that time.
And so let's get to Mary Bruce tonight. And Mary, so many questions about the testing there today, but also about the timing of a vaccine. The president with us last week, dialing back on any promise of a vaccine by year's end, those 300 million doses. He said we'll get through this whether we have a vaccine or not. But today, Dr. Fauci was pressed on this, and he offered what he believed was a realistic timeline for a vaccine.
Well, David, there are now at least 8 vaccines that are in clinical development, and Fauci says they are moving to produce some even before they know if some of them will work, so that they can scale up quickly if they end up being approved. But this is a process that takes time, and Fauci says they are hoping they will know if any of these vaccines can succeed by late fall or early winter. David.
All right, Mary Bruce with us tonight, leading us off. Mary, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.